All right. I'm glad. I heard the fishing trip last night with me went for a lot of money. See, if I were Hunter Biden, I'd put that in my pocket rather than going for a good cause, right? It'd be a little different. But we can't do that, right? That too. No, but think about how bad things are going right now. I'm going to play off of that, okay, sir? That the administration that currently is in charge wanted to put together a program to hand out crack pipes. Because you'd have to be on crack to think that they're doing a good job, okay? Like, just maybe, at least they found a program that Hunter could be in charge of, right? No, but think about what's going on. Look at what's happening out there. There's not a single success this administration has had, and yet, if you look daily, the press is fawning over them. You can see that Europe put in the sanctions that Joe Biden could have easily done a year ago, could have maintained what Trump had, could have done the right thing and actually led. But as my father said, and as we all know, he was sleeping. Right? While Europe was leading, Joe Biden was sleeping. And we say that without certainty, but we all know. Right? Of course he was. But the press, you can see the White House's hand in this. I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. Doesn't seem like they did anything. But that's what we're up against, folks. Watch, each and every day, we're watching inflation go through the roof. It's transitory, we're told. Right? It's just a temporary thing. It'll be gone. Well, maybe it won't be gone tomorrow. Every day they change the tune. Every day the narrative changes to suit failure after failure. A lot of fake news. A lot of fake. But you know what's nice about the fake news? Is that the American people are now onto them. All right? No, you hate to say it and you hate to see it. But maybe, and just maybe, it took a Joe Biden and a Kamala Harris and the disaster that came with that to wake the American people up fully to what is going on in our country. Okay? For years, the American citizens, they watched and they listened to the news, maybe peripherally in the background. If you're here at CPAC, you're into this stuff, you're studying it, you're watching it every day, you've seen through the lies. For the average American hardworking family, they were just consuming a couple minutes of news a day. You hear the same nonsense over and over and over, and maybe you just start assuming maybe there must be something to it, right? Like Russia collusion. What happened with that, though? Because it feels like there's actually was Russian collusion, but now it's different, right? No, but now almost zero coverage of it, right? When the other side gets their hand caught in the cookie jar, the worse than Watergate crowd is missing. Where is Bob Woodward, who for every day, every tweet, it's worse than Watergate? It's like, I don't know, like my father could tweet, Merry Christmas, it's worse than Watergate. They'd wheel him out from whatever rock he's hiding under. They'd put him on there and they'd say, you know, you've got one thing right in 40 years, but doesn't matter. Everything's worse than Watergate. This one actually is, right? You have a political campaign working with government contractors who had access not just to a candidate, but to also the sitting president of the United States. They used that information to spy on them, to create a narrative. They leaked it to that same fake news, who wrote a story about it, which they then used as a basis for an investigation. The same people that did that for the Hillary Clinton campaign are now negotiating with Russia, right? So the people who created the Russia boogeyman scenario for 5 years are now negotiating with them, as we seem like we're on the verge of getting into a ground war in Europe with Russia. And of course it happened under this administration, because you know, the first thing a bully does, a bully like Vladimir Putin, he takes advantage of the weak and infirm. And no one is weaker and no one is more infirm than Joe Biden. All you have to do is watch him walk up a flight of stairs, but it's worse than that. No, it's worse than that. Because you watch how they lead, how they govern, and I'll use lead in quotations because what I've seen is not leadership. And again, we're all on one side of the spectrum. We understand and we believe this, but we can see another side too. We can be open to that. And we can talk about those things, but there are certain things that we cannot let go. There are certain things that we cannot pretend didn't happen. Okay, we can disagree about socioeconomic policies. We can disagree about perhaps aspects of the environment. What we can't disagree about is the disgrace that happened in Afghanistan a few short months ago. Right? We gotta point it out. Because it's not just about that disgrace, it's what everyone sees. You think Vladimir Putin didn't see that and said, excellent. You think that Xi over in China wasn't saying, hey, whatever my timeline for taking over Taiwan was, accelerate it. There's a reason it didn't happen under Trump. People understand strength. They understand resolve. They understand balls. You gotta say it, folks. And folks, right now, our leadership has none of those things. Okay? But they do have depends. Yes, without a doubt. Go long on that stock, okay? You know Nancy Pelosi invested in that one way ahead of things, so like, just buy, go long. But it wasn't just brief moments of incompetence. It was the hearings afterwards where our generals, the great woke leaders of our US military that spent 6 million man-hours training our troops about wokeness. Like, not fighting, not killing bad guys. They wanted to learn about white rage, a term that none of us had ever heard of prior to him testifying it, right? Maybe they should focus on China, but when I watch our military leadership, who's gone the way of the left, sit there before the American people and said, well, as it pertains to Afghanistan, we could not have seen this coming. Really? Really? Because I saw it coming. And let's just assume I know nothing about Afghanistan, okay? I saw it coming. You saw it coming. Anyone who's ever served saw it coming. But they could not have seen it coming, which makes you wonder, why are they in charge? Remember, a week later, our Secretary of State gets up there. To paraphrase, because I'll get it close, but CNN will say that I lied about what was said. So to paraphrase, we are shocked and dismayed that the new Taliban government is not as diverse and inclusive as we would have hoped. Who would have imagined? I don't know. Like, they sort of have a history of throwing homosexuals off buildings. They have a history of enslaving young women and children into sexual bondage. We're shocked that they weren't more diverse and inclusive. You know why? Because these people are idiots. And yet they're in charge, right? You wonder why gas prices are all-time highs, right? We're going to spend billions to fund NATO, to protect them from the Russians that we give a pipeline to, that we give a pipeline not just for the economics, but a pipeline to their own survival right now as they invade a sovereign nation. The media is making the neocon warmongers heroes again, right? Liz Cheney's out there busy working, not to win a campaign because no one in the state of Wyoming could care less about Liz Cheney. She's working hard to send not her children, but your children over to Ukraine. You know that's what's going on in the background, right? Because, hell, guys, we haven't been in a war in like 3 months. Let's get that machine going, right? And you know when the media is turning them into the thought leaders of the Republican Party, they're trying to get us in another war. We're not going to go for it. Again, it took a Joe Biden to wake people up. It took the disaster that is not just Joe Biden, and this is what we have to remember going into midterms. It isn't just Joe Biden. We all recognize that he's incapable of making the decisions and coming up with the policies that are out there. These are Democrat policies, folks. This is what the Democrat Party wants for America. The inflation is fine as long as they can push their green agenda. It doesn't matter if America seats and cedes its place at the throne of capitalism to allow the Chinese to eat our lunch, to enrich our enemies. They want to push the asinine policies. They want to push science, but not real science, just science convenient to their narrative. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking about 97 genders all day long. Am I wrong? Nope. Not wrong. Speaking of Wyoming, Harriet, she's going to take out Liz Cheney, folks. Because she'll actually work for the people of Wyoming, not for the DC swamp. We got a lot of work to do in all of these places, folks, and that's the thing, okay? We cannot let our foot off the gas. We cannot assume we have won these things. When you have a $1 trillion mainstream media complex as your marketing department, like the Democrats do, $1 trillion in social media, another $1 trillion big tech enterprise, all working for them. We need each and every one of you to be in the game 100%, okay? The fact that elections are so close, given that you are up against multiple trillions, designed to suppress your opinion, your views, your ideas, your free speech while boosting the other side, is actually amazing. But that's why we can't assume we've won. We can't assume there's logic out there, because you understand how much has been spent and put against us and our values. So we need to be engaged. We need to be involved. We need to be all in every race. I'm not talking about just the Senate, or just gubernatorial races, or the House. We need to be involved down to our school boards, so we can prevent the radical left from pushing and teaching institutionalized racism to our children. All right. We need to put our money behind companies that share our values. I'm looking at Glenn over here from Patriot Mobile. Yeah. I run into you at every conservative thing in the world, Glenn. But you guys got to understand, you can give your money to AT&T, the parent company of CNN, and you can pay the salary of Don Lemon, or you can support someone like a Patriot Mobile and give back to causes that they believe in as a sponsor here. We can do all those things. That's not cancel culture, folks. That's using your damn brain. The enemy, the other side, and at this point, looking at the things that they are pushing, you got to use that word. They're more than happy to take your money, give it to everyone else who hates your guts, hates your values, hates your religion, hates your freedom. So use your head and play the game the way the other side does, because for the last few decades, until the age of Trump, we've been playing T-ball while the other side has been playing hardball. We turn the other cheek and they laugh and take the win. We need to play like them, and that's what Trump did, folks. He opened the door. People understand, like, wait a minute. We don't just have to fold under the narrative. We don't just have to roll over and die. We can speak our minds. We can use our voices. We can use our wallets to support it, and we have to. Because we are starting at such a deficit, given what has happened for so long. So we need to be engaged. We need to be out there. That's why it's awesome to see this many incredible conservatives in a room like this, because you understand what is at stake. Look at all the young people, too. Yeah, come on. Look at this. Come here, guys. All right. I mean, all right. Look at. You're not that young. Oh, come here, buddy. All right? Get them going, because, folks, it ain't easy being a young conservative, right? There are consequences to being on our side, right? If there weren't, I'd become an artist and sell my crap for $500,000. If there weren't, I would take $1 billion from China knowing that that's just fine. Right? I'd have a laptop with all of our enemies and it won't matter. Crack's not really my thing, but if it was, it would be fine if I was on that side. There's nothing easier than being a Democrat today. That's why you guys are now the new rebels. You guys are the counterculture. You guys are the future, so we need you to keep fighting, and that's why it's awesome that you guys are here. Thank you, man. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for being so engaged. I love the straw poll we saw. I like it when my big guy does well and not just 10%. A lot more, right? So CPAC, thank you so much. Matt, Mercy, thank you so much for doing this, for keeping the fire lit. Because we have to stay in this forever. We can no longer do what we've been doing. We must stay involved. We must get in every race and in every game and watch each and every way they try to undermine us on a daily basis. But with all of you together, united, we can do that and we can win because our ideas are great. We are the big tent. We are open to other ideas and thoughts. We don't say you must follow the gospel 100% or you are canceled and you are out. And I'm watching the other side eat themselves alive right now. So we are the party of inclusion, of diversity, of ideas. So get out there and fight for it, because those ideas, our Constitution, our freedom, and our liberty are worth fighting for 100%. So thank you very much, CPAC. We'll see you soon, okay, guys? Thank you, guys.